Welcome back to News Now on ET Now, and we are sticking to the big story of the geopolitical tensions that are rising. And let's discuss more with our guest on the show. We are being joined by Mr. Ashok Sajjanhar, who is the former ambassador, as well as Meera Shankar, former Indian ambassador, is also joining us on the phone line. But Mr. Ashok, very good morning, and thank you so much for your time. Just want to understand that this is the second attack by Iran this year after it fired hundreds of missiles and drones at Israel back in April. How do you see the situation unfolding in the Middle East? Let's start with your take on this.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sakshi. And, you're right. The last attack was in April, and it was basically, I would say, a face-saving attack because just before that, Iran had informed the United States, informed some of the other players in the Middle East region that it was going to launch this attack. There had been the attack by Israel on Iranian assets. So it felt compelled to respond to that because it wanted to send out a message that, it could not take those provocations lying down. But it was known very well that, that this attack was happening, that this was going to come. So there were, whether it was the Israeli Iron Dome or Israeli interceptions, the US interceptions, even as far as Jordan is concerned, they all cooperated so that, none of those 300 plus projectiles, missiles, drones, rockets, etc., could get into the Israeli airspace or do much damage. Maybe there was a little bit of a damage at some place, but not significant. Here, this is a little different because Iran has said very clearly and categorically that it did not inform the United States. And the United States had been saying that the attack was imminent, it was forthcoming. It has, there have been, as your correspondent was saying, 180 missiles that were launched against Israel. And most of them, according to reports, were intercepted and have been stopped. Now, we'll really have to wait and see as we go forward as to how much of damage have these missiles been able to inflict. Because, they say 170 out of 180 were neutralized, 10 were able to get in. What was the damage in terms of death or injury to civilians, to people? Iran has said that it has hit the air bases and the munition depots, etc., in Israel. So basically, that information has not been clear. Right at the beginning, the Israeli officials had said, defense officials had said that no one has died. There have been no casualties. But I think with the passage of time, we'll come to see. And on that, I think, will depend how Israel response. Again, Israel has responded last time also, but that was also a pro forma sort of an attack, just sending out a message to Iran that we can also reach you. We can also reach Shiraz. We can also reach the Natan, where the nuclear installation is in Iran.
Yes, so we'll really Mr. Ashok, I just wanted to bring that point and have Meera's take on this one. Allow me to get back to you in a while, but we also have Meera Shankar with us. And Meera, with Israel expressing concerns over Iran's nuclear program, how close do you think we are able to a potential conflict, and what role can international diplomacy play in diffusing the situation?
I think the situation has become very dangerous. Initially, there was a lot of sympathy for Israel because of the October 7th attack by Hamas, which was seen as a terrorist attack. And people believed that Israel had the right to take action to defend itself. But its response has been disproportionate. It has hit civilians in Gaza. I mean, nearly 45,000 or so people have been killed, about 80 to 90,000 wounded in a population of 3 million. That is large-scale civilian destruction. And then the war has now extended into Lebanon with Hezbollah. And finally now, Iran has responded. And Iran has said that this is in accordance with the UN principles to defend its sovereignty, because they see the assassination of the Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh while he was in Iran as an attack on Iranian sovereignty. So they are saying that they have responded proportionately to an attack on their sovereignty after showing a period of due restraint. That is, that they have not acted in haste. Now, Netanyahu, in his latest speeches, is talking of a much wider agenda. His first agenda was, he said, to eliminate Hamas in Gaza. And you've seen the destruction that has taken place in Gaza, but Hamas is still not eliminated, and there are 100 hostages still with them. Now he's talking, there have been the killings and assassinations of key Hezbollah leaders in Lebanon and their infrastructure. And now he is talking of regime change in Iran openly. Now that, I think, is very dangerous. He's calling upon the people of Iran to rise against clerical rule and saying that Israel will stand with you, and holding out a vision of peace and prosperity for the region, which can only be built if the regime in Iran changes. Now, I think that's a very dangerous objective, because the kind of attacks that Israel has been launching across the Middle East will solidify opinion in Iran on a nationalistic platform, even if there may have been disaffection, especially after the enforcement of the hijab rule in a very, very aggressive manner by the regime, where lots of activists have been jailed. Now, there is this danger of a broader war in the region.
All right.
The U.S., of course, has been worried about the expansion of the war, because then it could hit the entire world, hit oil supplies,
Yes.
impact the whole
Yes,
world.
Meera, allow me
And
to come back to
they
you to
sorry,
have
just-
your take on the whole geopolitical situation that is panning out, and especially how the commodities and the oil prices could get impacted because of Israel positioning in the same. But we all, Mr. Ashok, I would like to come back to you. And given India's diplomatic ties with both Israel and Iran, how do you see India balancing its relationship amidst these growing tensions?
Yeah, Srishti, I think what India is going to do is going to call for diffusion of the situation, diffuse the tensions, not allow it to escalate. You would have seen that, Prime Minister Modi, after coming back from the United States just a couple of days ago, he had a conversation with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, where he did mention India's support for against the terrorist attack that took place on 7th October. He also spoke in favor of the return of the hostages without further loss of time. But he also made a very strong point that there should be no escalation. So I think this is what India is going to do, because I think India is one of the countries that has huge interest in stability, in peace and tranquility in the West Asian area. We have, about 8-9 million people who are there. If there is instability, and if some of them have to leave, many of them have to leave, where are they going to go? They come to India. So, it has its own challenges. The sort of remittances that we receive from there are dependence on energy, which of course we see over the last 2 years, Srishti, has come down a little bit, because India has been purchasing discounted oil from Russia. So our offtake from West Asia has come down significantly, but then it is a very significant region for our exports. United Arab Emirates is the third largest of our trading partners, close to about $100 billion, and we have a
Yes.
positive balance of trade with that.
Yeah.
So there are many other areas. Investment also, UAE has
That could
promised
also get impacted.
significant investment, Saudi Arabia, $75 billion. So all in all, it's a very important region,
Yeah.
and we don't want things to get out of hand.
Well, certainly, that's your take. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Ashok. But Meera, how effective are the international sanctions on Iran in curbing its regional ambitions would impact? Because what impact do you think a more severe conflict would have on the global trade and the securities? If we can have your take on this quickly.
Look, already the price of oil has risen to $70 a barrel. Now, look at the inadvertent implication of this. This is something which benefits Russia in its economy because it's an oil-dependent economy. It benefits Venezuela, which is at odds with the U.S., because that's also an oil-dependent economy. And, of course, it benefits the U.S., where shale gas is profitable only if oil prices remain above $70 per barrel. It's something which is, as I said, a very difficult situation because there seems to be an escalatory ladder basically triggered by Israel's expansion of the war into Lebanon and attacks within Iran on Ismail Haniyeh and other Iranian assets in overseas territories, including at their embassy overseas. So it's a very dangerous situation because there's a presidential election in the U.S., so some vacuum of attention because all eyes are basically on campaigning right now. And, of course, Netanyahu has very strong support in Trump, whose conservative Christian followers back Israel to the hilt. So it's something that Netanyahu, he's playing a political game within the U.S.
Yes.
as well, trying to skew the decks in favor of Trump.
All right. Thank you so much with this, Mr. Ashok as well as Meera, for taking the time out and speaking with us on the latest development regarding the Iran and Israel war, alongside how US is seen to be supporting the Israel and India situation on the same. Well,
if you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.